It's a mess, you guys. You know, we've been talking about this Young Thug trial on our channel, one of the cases that Fani Willis's office is handling and basically bungling it up. So in the latest update, Judge Paige Whitaker, the new judge presiding over the Young Thug trial after they accused Judge Ural Glenville, criticized prosecutor Adrian for her lack of organization and preparedness. The way Whitaker described it, the prosecutors from the Fani Willis's office, they seem like they're just kind of like throwing this trial together as they go. So let me tell you guys, this whole Young Thug case has been teetering on the edge of a mistrial for months now. Here, take a look.
It is what it is. I think that the state was disingenuous about it. State's being very slippery in regards to their response to the court's questions. I think it's willful, and I think a mistrial is appropriate. And I'm asking.
I can't figure out what it is. If it's disingenuous, if it is that, I don't want to malign the prosecutor standing in front of me right now, so I'm not going to say the possible things that it could be, but it is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time, continues to seemingly purposefully hide the ball to the extent you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful, but honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it. And I am sorry to say that. But this case is being made much more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented. I'm going to take a recess for a few minutes. I'll have a ruling when I get back.
Now, honestly, it is also quite baffling that the judge recognizes that the state is unprepared and incompetent, but still allows for this trial to continue. And this isn't just a recent thing. I mean, take a look at the exact same Fani Willis prosecutor getting into a shouting match with the former judge of the case, Ural Glenville.
I'm not saying to you that the information is not any less invalid, but it's the timing that's a problem.
A couple weeks ago, you said to us, please flag things in advance. I took that to heart.
This is not in advance. This is not in advance. I'm going to ask the state their issue on this. Are you cutting this out? Did you have discussions with Mr. Sharp? Madam?
We did have discussions.
When?
Well, this morning. When you
That's too late. The evidence is excluded. The evidence is excluded. I'm going to exclude because I told you that this was going to happen.
We reached out to them.
No. The exhibit's not ready, and you haven't made, no. Well, Mr. Sharp's got objections to it.
But Judge, Mr. Sharp can get in and have our evidence excluded every day that he makes an objection at midnight, and then comes in and says.
Well, then you all should have gotten your stuff together before then. Summon our juries, please. Summon our juries. Have a seat, madam. Have a seat. You better exclude that, and next time, make sure you're prepared. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just not. We are starting right now. It's 1:20. So
we have talked to them. We have said we don't agree.
Then file a motion and get it before me, and we'll take it up. Both of you all have equally responsibility to do that.
The information they are seeking.
Oh, it's going to be inadmissible right now.
I'm saying, Judge, that you said to file a motion. There's nothing.
I'm not going to have any more discussion about this, madam. I'm not. I don't.
Okay, yeah, it definitely seems like a pattern for prosecutor Adrian at this point, right? Anybody else think that she should have been held in contempt? Shocking how that big mouth thinks that she could just kind of like talk all over the judge and yell at him, right? Shame on him for not holding her in contempt too. I mean, this was the same judge who wanted Young Thug's defense attorney Brian Steele judged for rightfully, lawfully questioning him about his secret in parte meeting with a very key witness and the prosecution. Mind you, without the defense being present. You guys remember that? So the Young Thug YSL RICO trial resumed with yet another threat of a mistrial, and it's just getting more obvious by the day that Judge Paige Whitaker is just plain fed up with Fani Willis's DA's office. So yeah, they paused the whole thing because of Hurricane Helene, but things are now rolling again, and the first day back, we hear from Judge Whitaker telling the prosecution that their team is just so unorganized that they're throwing this case together as they try it. So let me just go ahead and quote what she said in the clip earlier because it was just a gold, guys. It is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time, continues to seemingly purposefully hide the ball to the extent that you possibly can get as long as you possibly can. So yeah, this was about the Chief Deputy District Attorney Adrian Love's handling of the Young Thug case. And according to Whitaker, this case is being made much more difficult for pretty much everybody because of the haphazard way in which it's being presented. Now guys, things got very heated over there over an issue with evidence that attorney Love tried to introduce without a witness, which then prompted Young Thug's defense attorneys to move to a mistrial. So Whitaker was so frustrated that she had to ask for a recess. When she returned, Judge Whitaker ultimately denied the motion for a mistrial from the defense, though she did still warn prosecutors that she was nearing her breaking point, saying that she's struggling with whether or not all of this is purposeful or this is just really poor lawyering on the part of members of the state's team. Either way, it's really unfortunate. Now, honestly, guys, I'm really not sure if poor lawyering is any better as a reason for pushing through with this case. Because see, you guys, the latest rise in tension is yet another sign of Judge Whitaker's frustration over the entire prosecution of this case. Not a good look for Fani Willis's office. Since taking over the case last month, the judge has pointed out its handling and what she's called unnecessary delays. So this trial is already the longest in state history with no end in sight. And by the way, guys, while the slow-moving trial has dragged on, Young Thug has basically been sitting in jail for more than 2 years and has been repeatedly denied bond by both judges to handle the case over fears that he might intimidate witnesses. Prosecutors have only presented part of their vast list of potential witnesses, and the trial is expected to run well into 2025. Rapper Young Thug, real name Jeffrey Williams, and dozens of others were indicted in May 2022 over allegations that their YSL was not really a record label called Young Stoner Life, but rather a violent Atlanta gang called Young Slim Life or Young Slime Life. So, using Georgia's RICO law, prosecutors claim that the group operated a criminal enterprise that committed all sorts of crimes over the course of a decade. The trial kicked off in January 2023, but it's been met with a whole lot of repeated delays and disruptions, including a never before heard of 10-month jury selection, the stabbing of another defendant, and of course, the very bizarre episode of when Judge Ural Glenville was removed from the case over a secret meeting with prosecutors and a key witness. Whitaker took over the case in July, and by the looks of it, she's had about enough of it with the whole case already. Again, guys, all under Fani Willis's jurisdiction. The same Fani Willis who's still going after former President Donald Trump for a made-up election interference case. So let me know what you guys think, guys. Should they just shut down this Young Thug trial, which is probably costing Georgia taxpayers millions of dollars already, and just concentrate on investigating the Fulton County DA's office instead, starting at the very top with Fani Willis? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below if you guys agree. And hey, don't forget to hit the like button for the video to show your support, and do not go anywhere, guys. We're literally only about halfway through this video. I promise you we got so much more in store to talk about. Now, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure your notifications are turned on. And if you're still not getting notifications, make sure notifications are turned on your YouTube app and on your phone. We're trying to grow our community of truth right here on YouTube. So every like, every comment, every subscribe really does go a long way. So anyway, guys, let's get back to it. So this was not the first time that things got really heated between the judge and Fani Willis prosecutor Adrian Love, because before Judge Ural Glenville was recused from the very same case, he got into a full-blown shouting match with Adrian Love. Now, as you guys saw in the clip earlier, things got very heated. This heated exchange happened right after the judge sided with the defense and ruled that the evidence Love wanted to introduce would be excluded. And what he told her is pretty much the same thing that Whitaker did, that they all should have gotten themselves together beforehand. And since Adrian Love just kept mouthing off, the judge had to tell her, "Have a seat, ma'am. Have a seat. You better exclude that, and next time time, make sure you're prepared. Before Love could even continue her objections, Judge Glenville cut her off, telling the prosecutor that he's not going to do this anymore. He told Adrian Love at one point, "You continue to engage in this pattern of behavior. You don't want to accept my ruling, and I know you're trying to be an advocate, but at some point, just stop." Love said that Glenville was punishing the prosecution, and Glenville just shut her down quickly, essentially saying that he's not punishing anybody. It's just that prior preparation prevents poor performance. And it may not just be Adrian Love who has this whole complex about Fulton County DA's office. Just look at Fani Willis's former lover and former special prosecutor Nathan Wade. He was served with a congressional subpoena, but not before evading service of the summons for nearly a week. Nathan Wade, who was forced off the Trump case after his workplace romance with Fani Willis came to light, apparently went into hiding after the subpoena was issued, refusing to accept service until 6 days later. According to the spokesperson for the House Judiciary Committee, they have served over 100 subpoenas with Congress and have done so for the most part without controversy or the need to use the U.S. Marshals. So what they're saying is that Nathan Wade's evasion of service is extremely unusual and will require the committee to spend U.S. taxpayer dollars to locate him. And it wasn't just him who seems to think that they're above the law. DA Fani Willis herself refused to comply with a subpoena of testimony and documents related to allegations of misconduct in her handling of the 2020 election interference case against former President Donald Trump. The Georgia State Senate Special Committee issued the subpoena as a part of an investigation into Fani Willis' alleged misuse of taxpayer money and potential conflicts of interest during her romance with former Trump special prosecutor Nathan Wade. And do you know what she said to defend herself and justify her not responding? She declared that the panel's subpoena power is unlawful and that she will refuse to cooperate in the probe. Yep, just like that. Fani Willis just basically made the decision all by herself. So, State Senator Bill Cowsert, he had to declare that Miss Willis, Fani Willis, has failed to appear in compliance with the subpoena and has failed to produce documents requested by the subpoena. He also mentioned how the committee has hired outside legal counsel to assist them with the legal enforcement efforts of the subpoena. So again, this is real taxpayer money that's just going down the sink just for Fani Willis's vanity ultimately, because former Democratic Georgia Governor Roy Barnes, who is serving as Fani Willis's attorney, told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that the DA will not appear until there has been a judicial determination of the validity of the subpoena. Now, this is certainly some very questionable behavior from the Fulton County DA, if you ask me. The committee's document demand included material from Fani Willis related to Nathan Wade, including hiring and payment information, communication records between the two, documents related to money or items of value that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis may have exchanged. The panel is also asking for the DA's responses to requests from House lawmakers and any communications Fani Willis or her office had with the White House, the Justice Department, and of course Congress about the 2020 election. Now, I mean, why hide these things if she has nothing to be afraid of, right? Oh, and by the way, Fani Willis's sprawling racketeering case against Donald Trump, it's been on pause since June. Meanwhile, the Georgia Court of Appeals is weighing the former president's effort to disqualify the district attorney for prosecutorial misconduct over her relationship with Nathan Wade. This is one big, hot, stinking mess, folks. The appeals court is expected to hear arguments in the disqualification effort in December, well after the November 5th presidential election. So yeah, we can pretty much count that as a Trump win for sure, guys.
Workplace romances are as American as apple pie. It happens to everyone. But it happened to the two of us.
Do you regret
that thing? I regret that private matter became the focal point of this very important prosecution. This is a very important case. I hate that my personal life has begun to overshadow the true issues in the case.
He says his personal life began to overshadow the true issues in this case. Two things to add here, though. He failed to mention that his own personal choices that led to the problem in the first place. And two, he forgot to mention how he earned more than $600,000 of U.S. taxpayer money in a very short stint as Fani Willis's special prosecutor. A big part of which he used to pay for lavish trips, dinners, vacations with the Fulton County DA herself. So I gotta ask you guys, what do you think about that? Plus, it took him 6 full days to respond to this congressional subpoena, but he had no problem showing up on the roadside when Fani Willis's daughter got arrested. They even have it on body cam footage.
Mom, Dad, what's the
Supreme, yeah.
Okay.
Connie, nice to meet you.
So, Corporal Clark.
Nice to meet you. What?
So, apparently,
Nice to meet you.
apparently her license is suspended
News to me, okay.
for something. Doesn't tell us what for or why or where, or that's something she's going to have to call DMV and find out. Okay. Probably what happened, she had a speeding ticket, some kind of traffic infraction, never went to court, didn't take care of it. Okay. That's the best guess. So, she's gone over to Fayette County Jail, which is right in the Fayetteville Square. It's 145 Johnson Avenue. Normally, I would say a couple hours is the process. It just depends on how busy they are and like that, okay? The driving on the suspended is basically a traffic citation. She's got to have her fingerprints done and picture taken, then she can make her bond.
You see, this man is just all sorts of shady. You know what I mean, guys? But yeah, after evading service of the congressional summons for nearly a week, former Donald Trump prosecutor Nathan Wade was served with a congressional subpoena demanding that he provide closed-door testimony as a part of the Republican-led panel's investigation into Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis's prosecution of the former president. It was 6 long days that the authorities and the media was looking for Nathan Wade. The House Judiciary GOP posted on X, "Where's Nathan Wade?" And House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan posted the Atlanta Journal-Constitution article on X with the same caption. Earlier this week, before Nathan Wade was found, a spokesperson for the committee described Nathan Wade's evasion as extremely unusual, and also brings to mind the recent call from the Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene to have Fani Willis arrested when she failed to adhere to a subpoena in Georgia State Senate. But yeah, guys, as for Wade, maybe he realized that he couldn't hide any longer. 6 days after the subpoena was issued by the committee, he called the U.S. Marshals and finally made an appointment for service, ending the standoff. As Russell Dye, a spokesperson for the committee, put it, in their statement before this, the Judiciary Committee has served over 100 subpoenas this Congress. They have done so, for the most part, without controversy or the need to use the U.S. Marshals. So, Nathan Wade's evasion of service is extremely unusual and will require the committee to spend extra U.S. taxpayer dollars to locate him. He also mentioned that before Nathan Wade gave himself up, the committee issued the subpoena, attempted to serve the subpoena to Nathan Wade's lawyer, who declined, and subsequently the committee tried to serve the subpoena via email through Nathan Wade himself. Never heard back. As a result, the committee had to use the assistance of the U.S. Marshals, who have also not been able to find Nathan Wade. Now, there's also something very funny about U.S. Marshals having trouble to find one man when they had no problem at all finding the MAGA voters from January 6th. But I guess we'll save that for another video. What do y'all think? But going back to Nathan Wade, apparently House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, he had to resort to the subpoena because the Georgia lawyer suddenly refused to appear for a voluntary interview after previously agreeing to it. In a letter, Jim Jordan revealed that Nathan Wade canceled on the committee because of instructions that he received from Fani Willis's lawyer. He said that the 11th hour intervention from District Attorney Fani Willis does not excuse Nathan Wade's failure to appear for his transcribed interview. Now, this just brings up all sorts of questions about the whole Willis-Wade romance all over again. You see, Nathan Wade was hired by Fani Willis to lead the Trump probe investigation on November 1st, 2021, one day before he filed for divorce from his wife. In January, Donald Trump's RICO co-defendant Michael Roman, in a court filing, blew the lid off of Fani Willis's improper relationship with Nathan Wade. The filing claimed Nathan Wade paid for luxury vacations that he took with Fani Willis to Napa Valley in California and a cruise in the Caribbean, and he used money from Fulton County to pay for their out-of-town escapades. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, county records show that Nathan Wade, who has also played a very prominent role in the election interference case, has been paid nearly $654,000 in legal fees since January 2022. The DA, that's Fani Willis, authorizes his compensation. Nathan Wade and Fani Willis were forced to testify, and they both allegedly lied under oath about when their relationship began. Nathan Wade lied to the court in a civil proceeding about his divorce, provided false statements in a brief submitted and signed by Fani Willis, and lied on the witness stand. I mean, come on. A court filing revealed that Fani and Nathan Wade exchanged 11,865 text messages in the months leading up to their famed case against Donald Trump and 18 other co-associates for allegedly lying about the 2020 election. But still, throughout this whole thing, he insisted that he had no personal or intimate relationship with Fani Willis prior to being brought into the Trump case. But critics say it's kind of obvious Fani Willis and Nathan Wade lied under oath about the length of their affair. The whole thing went on for a while, so the whole Georgia election interference case against former President Donald Trump was put to the side in order to resolve this conflict of interest issue first. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee ultimately ruled that Fani Willis could remain on the case as long as her former lover Nathan Wade stepped down, which he eventually did. Nathan Wade said in his letter at the time that although the court found that the defendants failed to meet their burden of providing the district attorney acquired an actual conflict of interest, he was offering his resignation in the interest of democracy, in dedication to the American public, and to move this case forward as quickly as possible. You guys buying that? Yeah, me neither. But Fani Willis's sprawling racketeering case against Donald Trump has been put on pause since June, while the Georgia Court of Appeals weighs the former president's effort to disqualify the district attorney. Judge Scott McAfee also quashed 6 counts in Fani Willis's indictment, including 3 counts against former President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, the Judiciary Committee investigation is still ongoing as they're looking into whether Fani Willis's case against Donald Trump is, in fact, politically motivated. Nonetheless, we got to stay vigilant about things like this. Legal thugs get away with murder when people aren't looking. So definitely, guys, keep an eye on this, okay? Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more updates on this one and other shenanigans that the Democratic Party is up to. Now, actually, guys, I just uploaded another video on Kamala Harris and her very questionable track record as a prosecutor herself. You gotta watch that one right after this video. Click on my channel, hit the video button or the live tab and check that video out next. As always, appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. We'll see you guys next time.